So yesterday, I was emailed this YouTube that had Newsmax anchors talking about this poll that had been done by Change Research that was talking about red flags in a partner. And the Newsmax people were really kind of incredulous about some of these things that women saw as red flags in partners. And these are the red flags that are they were talking to registered voters between 18 and 24, so young people. And it made me start doing a little bit of digging about this poll. I'm tickled. So this is just a short part of what Newsmax pulled out, but I'm going to show you the poll and some of the other questions. For women, the biggest red flags are people that identify as MAGA Republican, men that say that there are only two genders. This third one that they have pulled out is hilarious. Listens to Joe Rogan at 55% and refused to see the Barbie movie. These are freaking hilarious to me. But what these people should be doing is seeing and understanding that women are trending more liberal, even young women. And this is true. This has been true that women tend to trend more liberal and men tend to trend more conservative. But even with all that said, it's you see these numbers, and instead of trying to appeal to women, they just laugh at their talking points, and this is hilarious. Let's get into these numbers a little bit more. Various publications did write-ups on these polls. This one is titled "Millennial Gen Z Women Find Partners Listening to Joe Rogan Podcast a Red Flag," and I am this is hysterical to me. This one from the Daily Mail is titled "MAGA is the leading red flag for 18 to 34-year-old women, while men are turned off by women with political opinions." They said, nope, we don't want to talk to anybody with political opinions. I am wondering what Joe Rogan feels about this poll, if he's amused or not, if he will talk about this on his show. So Change Research polled a little over 1,000 registered voters aged 18 to 34 about their political leanings, dating preferences, and upcoming presidential elections. And I want to dig into the graph that these people saw as red flag. Okay, so here is the full graph of what the Change Research people found, and what the Newsmax people pulled out is only a snapshot. Some of the things that I wanted to highlight is identify as a MAGA Republican was number one red flag for women. 60% said that if a man say all lives matter, that's a red flag. But this one is an interesting one. They are so unbothered, they never ask for details. This means that women are changing. Women are tired of these nonchalant dudes, these dudes that have no clue about shopping. We talked about the Instacart shoppers. We talked about the weaponized incompetence. This is showing up across the board. Now, identify as conservative is 54%. Conservative men are very antagonistic towards feminists. And feminists, all we really want is equality, security, and opportunities. And they are so antagonistic towards feminists, it makes sense. The whole "I refuse to see the Barbie movie" is at 53%. But I mean, all of this is kind of wrapped into the fact that they are antagonistic towards feminists. Another interesting point. So on the men's side, 59% would find a red flag of women who identify as a MAGA Republican. So even men are not really going for the whole MAGA Republican type of women either. 64% of men find it to be a red flag if you identify as a communist. Who's identifying as a communist? I don't really know, but they find that as a red flag. 41% of men find it to be a red flag if you are into astrology. Like, why is this a thing? I don't know. What all of this shows to me is how little Republicans are tapped into people. After the midterms, you started seeing Republicans go hard about trying to get rid of the youth vote, raise the voting age to 25%. 25 years old. Now, instead of just fixing things to where young voters want to vote for your policies and your politicians, no, just scratch off the young voters. What are they going to do about the women? You can't X off women's right to vote anymore. We have the right to vote. So what are they going to do about this? I have no idea, but this is definitely hilarious to me. I don't know how you guys see this. Now, there were some green flags that were brought up. Green flags for people, both men and women prefer folks who read. This is a good thing. It's a good thing that want people to read. Now, in the whole contentious political realm right now, we got the book banners, the people who really want to ban books. So I don't know how that's going to play in, but these younger voters are probably not going to be, yay, go censorship, yay, go book bannings. Okay, pulling this out. Women also favor would-be romantic partners who research the best deals before buying, say Black Lives Matter, look better in person, take candid pictures, identify as liberal. The whole take candid pictures is hilarious because I do these dating profiles and these people have some terrible pictures. Men likewise prefer prospective partners who look better in person and research for the best deals. Okay, that's similar. But they also look more favorably on people who say there are only two genders and own a pum pum. Other green flags among men include partners who prefer cow milk over non-dairy milk, are not on social media, and identify as conservative. This whole prefer cow milk over non-dairy milk, I guess people who drink almond milk, such as myself, I guess we're too picky. I don't know, but that's kind of funny. Not on social media. So what this says to me, I would, even if I were single, I would never be picked by a conservative, and I am perfectly fine by that. I am perfectly fine being all of the red flags. I am all of the red flags. I'm just, oh. The difference in dating preferences lines up with the difference in political leanings among young men and women. The research revealed that millennial and Gen Z women lean further to the left than young men, with 41% of women surveyed identifying as politically progressive compared to just 24% of men. This is why the Republicans will have such a challenging time with all of these anti-choice bills that they are passing. And I do not know why Republican strategists are not sounding the alarm bells. Like, I'm glad that I am not a Republican strategist at this particular point in time, because every single thing that they are doing right now is just antithesis to what women want. And women are very politically active, and we're leaning towards feminists, and we are saying, no, we don't want this. And we're going to activate. And I am here for this younger crowd who are actively standing up, pushing the boundaries, and knocking down these traditional boxes. You guys go ahead, jump in the comments. Let me know what you think.
A poll conducted by Change Research asked 18 to 34-year-olds to provide a list of red flags when it comes to dating and relationships. And topping the list, believe it or not, MAGA Republicans, with 76% of millennial and Gen Z women saying it's a turnoff, man. Also high on the list, saying that there are only two genders. That can run you into trouble there. 58%, just amazing. The Joe Rogan Experience may be the top podcast in the United States of America, but listening to it won't get you a date with 55% of women in this category anyway. And refusing to see the Barbie movie means that 53% of young women won't go to the movies with you.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here. And in a pathetic attempt to appeal to Gen Z and millennials, the Right Squad with Chris Plant brought on Matthew Foldy, a young journalist, to discuss the red flags of modern dating. But it didn't turn out the way that they'd expected.
Man, I don't understand what's happening with young women, because we see that young men are actually starting to trend more conservative. So that's kind of interesting. But I wonder if these young women are also the same types that, will be upset if somebody doesn't hold the door open for them, or, as we discussed the other day with the dating situation, if they don't pay for the meals of you or maybe your friends if it's your birthday dinner or something like that.
my advice to the men is stay away from the woke women, okay?
Right.
Because remember, they'll be the future mothers and the future wives. And as I tell my girls tell me all the time, they're not ready to get married anytime soon, but they're like, I want to marry a conservative, someone who loves God, and someone who's in their faith. And I'm like, that's good.
The discussion was centered around an alleged poll that was directed at Gen Z and millennial women. Remember that young Americans are expected to show up in droves to vote in 2024, and they're not leaning towards Republican policies. This fact has the GOP running scared. The idea of an entire generation of new voters casting their ballots for the opposition has left party leadership trying to reach out and identify with the youth. That's why they have so many clowns like Charlie Kirk always lurking outside of college campuses.
This list is crazy, and I want to fixate on the third spot there, the Joe Rogan podcast. Like millions of people around the world, I train by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night. Now, this probably doesn't mean anything to you, but for millions of people, I mean, Joe Rogan is the most listened to person, by my calculations, in the world.
The poll in question asked Gen Z and millennial women what are the biggest red flags when it comes to dating. The number one answer, according to the poll, was MAGA boys who identify as Republicans.
So if you meet a young woman who doesn't like Joe Rogan, that's a red flag for you. And you're probably moving on.
No, the red flag would be her not liking that I listen to Joe Rogan. You can be neutral on Joe Rogan. Listening to it, though, I think, says you have an open mind.
There's no lukewarm. You can't be neutral, okay? And especially when you're dating and you're trying to, pick the partner for your life. It's about sharing common interests. I feel bad for these young women.
The red hat wearing, Donald Trump loving, big pickup driving jackaloons that blast Jason Aldean at stoplights and blow black smoke out of their pipes to own the libs. Yeah, those clowns. Not surprisingly, folks who insist on two genders come in at a sloppy second. Those are the Marge to Trainwreck Green and Lauren Boebert types. Christian nationalists fall into this category. These are the folks who want to regulate everyone else's sexuality but get a free pass when it comes to themselves. It's no wonder that any intelligent young person with their whole life ahead of them would want to steer clear of a closed-minded, unoriginal loser. When the panel got to number 3 on the list, Foldy couldn't accept the answer. The number 3 biggest red flag for young people dating is someone who listens to Joe Rogan. And can you blame them? MAGA morons suffer from what's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. That's when someone thinks that they are experts in topic without having any training or experience. Matthew Foldy represents